Ha! Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas, and I think today is April. And it's possible that you're going to hear the salt truck going by because we're in the midst of winter storm warning. We're supposed to get upwards of 40 to 50 mile an hour winds and lots of snow, so, so much for spring. However, I am out here working on my crossbow, my big crossbow. And I'll show you the pieces and parts. Let's see if this is... Yep. Emmett County. Salt truck just went by. Snowplow. Weird. Okay, pieces and parts. I have my stirrup. And many people use things made of steel for stirrups, but I didn't have anything I can use. And I had some deer rawhide from a deer that met his or her demise by an arrow at my hands some years ago. I've got bunches of skins laying around all over the place. Anyway, I digress. A loop of rawhide. This is several strips, wrapped them around. So 1, 2, 3, three courses of it in here. That should be plenty strong. It's not like a super heavy crossbow. It's not a 1,200 pound steel prodded monster, 75, 80 pounds. So 3 bits, 3 strips of 3 layers of rawhide should certainly do it. And so I've got Compoor. This is a wrap of leather because it's going to be a high wear area, and plus it looks cool. Don't dismiss cool. And I went through, it's just like doing the rim of a birch bark basket. All these holes, I'm going to stitch this because I could glue these together, but the various forces at work, wouldn't stick together. So I'm going to do an X pattern in black B50 on this, and that should look quite fantastic. Okay, so part 1. And yesterday, this is going to fall out here. Yesterday I went and urethaned, spar urethaned. This is really cool, and just wait till you see the prod on it. It's going to be great. And I'm thinking that, it's a siege weapon. I can just shoot over the ramparts, shoot over the walls. Especially so, kind of the Roman scorpion, I think it is, when they had hills and earthen embankments and stuff like that, not modern castles or what have you. But this is working out nicely. And Brian, good point. Been discussing back and forth the best kind of bolts for flight shooting. And it's going to be a good opportunity for me to test bolts, arrows, quarrels of different lengths, different masses, barreled shafts, which means, different kind of barreling, so don't get me tripped up here. Possibly small in the front, getting big, about a third of the way, center of gravity-ish, and then descending in diameter again, barrel shafted. Most of them are just kind of a straight parallel shaft. But I can engage in various permutations with my projectiles to see which one flies faster. Feather, fletching, opposed to wooden fletching. I'm really thinking wood is going to be the best, really, less air resistance, but we shall see. It's all an experiment. Now, would this particular device, this particular crossbow, be a very good one to test the aerodynamic properties of arrows? I believe it would, because of the long power stroke and the moderate weighted prod. Having that long power stroke, I believe, will give me, mixed with a not a huge heavy prod, moderate one, will give me a good indication of what will fly farthest. I might be wrong, might be way off base, but that is my theory. As far as the pin, the piñata, Osage orange. I made a dowel out of Osage orange, nice and hard stuff. For a safety, I might fiddle around with then having a hole through there and like a pin, like a fire extinguisher. I don't know. That's just a possibility, but that works nice and smoothly. I do have, you can see that hole goes halfway through that horn, so when it's pushing up the string, it's not going to be pushing up on the edge of the pin. I know it's hard to see, but it'll be pushing up in the middle of the pin, giving it good purchase. What else have I been working on in the workshop of mystery? Haha! The bolt clip. Probably out of view. I'm going to remove the clamps. And so, this is approximately 6 inches. And it tapers. It's thick here and thin. Just for the bending. This is my bending form. And so I shall heat this up in the oven, 250 degrees for a while, until it gets thoroughly hot, inside and out. Boiling isn't going to make this thing flexible enough. You got to get over 200 degrees. And so take it out, stick it in here quickly, yeah, the right way, and then squish it down, and then put clamps on here. Now, you notice this is tapered, little bit of geometry here. This was just a slice, not compensating for different thicknesses, what have you. But when I clamp this down, this, I forget what kind of wood this is, doesn't matter. This is thin enough that when I put my clamp here, it can actually bend that top piece, especially when it gets hot, because this goes back in the oven, to give solid contact throughout the length of this, supporting it, so cracking will be at a minimum. Now to give you some relative, gotta stop saying it's gonna make it from this flat spot, and I should have it go further in than my shorter power stroke crossbow, because the farther in you go, the more secure the arrow is going to be. Now this is something I learned from the first effort. I thought, I'm going to be fancy, I'm going to groove this end so it holds the arrow. Well, when I grooved it, it wound up moving the contact back, which, you know, ruined the effect of the length of this. And so I would suggest for all you bolt clip makers out there, don't groove it. Don't monkey with the end. Don't do anything whatsoever, because it actually will push down in the arrow nicely. You don't need to make it fancy there. And the less fancy you make it, the further, the more effective this is going to be. Grooving just basically flattens this thing out and doesn't give a nice curve sticking down on that. Okay, that is that for crossbows. I heard the turkeys, they heard me. You may turn the video off now if you do not want to get into the interesting, weird portion of this video. I hear ya. And I'm going to do a video on this. Look at that thing. I thought it was going to be a temporary video on, you know, the sun. Does the sun prove the flat earth? Well, that thing has had almost 600 hits. Look at the number of hits on my other videos. Of course, I cherish. It is dear to my heart. Bows and crossbows. But you know what? It's kind of fun delving into the French. And so I'm like watching some of these videos, you know, I'm waiting for stuff to dry or what have you, and, you know, seeing what's out there. It's like, clouds behind the sun prove the earth is flat. And I love it because they don't, mainstream science, you come up with an idea, right? And your job is trying to kill your idea. You have to kill your idea by coming up with every little bit of information around there that can kill that idea. When you are unable to kill your idea, because it needs to be strong to live, natural selection in the world of knowledge, is you put it in front of peer review. And so you're sitting up on your platform with all these great minds out there, inquisitive minds, creative minds, looking at things at different angles from yours, proposing it, and they attack you. They brutally attack you and try to pound your theory, your idea into the ground, which is a good thing because it means that if it survives, it's strong. And if they're unable to, coming up with all these different ideas that you didn't come up with, if they're unable to kill your idea, then it's a good idea. Now this notion of you can see clouds behind the sun is funny, because on the surface it's like, wow, yeah, that proves the earth is flat and the sun is close. But they're not thinking of everything. Think of the observer on the ground, looking up at the sun. We're looking up at the sun. The sun is here, and so where would the clouds be? The clouds would be above the sun, behind it and above it. The last time I checked, airplanes can fly over the clouds, which means F. Airplanes can fly over the clouds and the sun is below the clouds. Airplanes can fly over the sun. Which may answer what happened to Amelia Earhart. She probably flew into the sun, or at least a solar flare. And with that, I'm done. Snow is not done. I think it's April. Is it April? I don't know. Something like that. Have a good day. Thank you for watching. And start working on your crossbow. Or snowshoeing.